Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
Join us as we explore the prize inside, looking at holistic health and extraordinary human potential.
Hi there.
Hi there.
The Prize Inside, a podcast dedicated to holistic living and unlocking your human potential.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully you guys are having a great night tonight. I'll pull that off there for a second. Welcome to 1% Tribe. Tonight we get to talk about a very interesting joint of the human body. And one of the reasons this was one of these things that I kept seeing this through the week, like a lot of times one of the reasons I love this podcast is because I get to talk about maybe cases or whatever that you see throughout a week or a month or whatever. And the reason I did that was a guy named Dr. Williams. Dr. Williams was a practicing chiropractor for like 52 years using Coldwater, Michigan. And I had the pleasure of getting to see him every 2 weeks. And one of the things that he always said was, Jeremy, make sure you're writing down, discussing, talking about like different things. The TMJ was in the office like probably the last month of January, that it was leading into a lot of things. And so when people think of the TMJ joint, they think of the tension and then the pain of jaw pain. But I've done TMJ on a few people based on headaches, based on sinuses, based on ear problems, right? So things that you wouldn't necessarily say, hey, this is a TMJ problem, right? And so one of those things, like, in chiropractic, one of the things that we talk about a lot on, in this world, in how do we approach this differently? Many times, let me get these banners out of the way. Many times in our sick care model of the world, we look at the direction, we look right at that joint, and then we decide that, we should do something, about that, where that aspect, we get into it where they want to break it or they want to reset it somehow, right? And a lot of times when those things occur, there might be a simpler approach. Now, one of the problems with TMJ a lot of times is when I sit somebody down and say, hey, listen, we're going to be doing this. It's with all pattern movement of your body. It wasn't learned overnight. And so a lot of times TMJ treatment is a little longer process, but much less intrusive, I would say, than actually the other medical things, right? Injections, breaking the jaw. That's a fantastic, doesn't make sense to me. Oh, Julie, welcome. Hopefully you're good. I love it. Remember, every Sunday night we do this. And if you comment, you get your butt put on here. So I got a good group of people that'll come on here. But Julie says, I'm so interested. I've been on the struggle bus. Well, one of the reasons that this occurs is because it's consistent care. That is the problem. And tonight, what I want to do is, it's not just getting adjusted, and all those kind of things, but what can we do at home maybe to really start looking at this? And so a lot of big pieces on the TMJ. I could go into it for hours. There's high level TMJ problems, low level TMJ problems. They all lead to can be major things. And a lot of it has to do with chiropractic and the spinal joints around your body, right? And so what occurs a lot of times is our mechanics get so far off, and the TMJ is such a sensitive. Think of a swing, okay? So a TMJ essentially is a swing. It's one of the most rare bones in the body and how it works like a swing, right? So imagine if one side of the swing gets turned and you're twisting the swing. So then you start to try to go up and down, right? And get as high as you can. But now I'm going to twist the swing, right? Think about the force differences that occurs. It's going to torque on those chains or whatever, like as it goes up there. The TMJ is designed to kind of open and close like a swing does. Swing, that movement pattern of the two chains, you're moving forward and backward. When you have that off balance, it starts to torque. And so when it starts to torque, we have these different issues where, that swing is not going to be able to get as high and as far back because of this torque that kind of happens with the swing. Hopefully that's a good analogy for you, because a lot of times that's one of the craziest part of the TMJ joint is it's one that has to work in unison on both sides of the human body. There's almost none that do that. I'm trying to think of any in particular. Even every spinal joint has individual movement patterns. Your jaw literally moves completely two joints, and it moves back and forth. Now, the reason it's so it's set up the way it is because when you clamp down, it needs to be one of the strongest forces you can possibly, put into your human body. And so it needs double the work. And so that double the work is both those joints. So that's where we're going to start off with today. Hopefully that wasn't too kind of crazy. But if you're interested in videos like this, Julie, remember, I'm going to put in our pot before we get started. I want to make sure if you're on Rumble, which is like a YouTube app. So if you download the Rumble app or YouTube, if you look up The Prize Inside a Chiropractor's Journey, you can get all the different podcasts and videos that we've done. Probably this is our 103rd, I think, 103rd episode. And all of them are there. So then you can go through, kind of look at, if you have some interest, and each one is an herb, each one is some kind of physical condition, or we talk about some really good positive mental aspects on each different week. So if you're interested, make sure you're getting in there. I got to put that in the chat. My Rumble channel is called The Prize Inside a Chiropractor's Journey. Boom. We put that in the chat, and then we put our YouTube. That's called The Prize. It's at The Prize Inside You. You can get that one. All right. And then our last one is pretty interesting. It's growing now. It's called tribe1.substack.com. So tribe1.substack.com. It's basically a email newsletter that allows, and right now right now it's been, if you want to see when we get on at night. So typically it's like Sunday night and Wednesday night is when I do this. But it gives you a reminder email. But Dr. Rachel is starting to run a little newsletter-y thing. It's pretty good. It's called Dr. Rachel's Corner. And then we're doing another newsletter called Disease Tuesday. Very short little emails of just information that's out there. Cause I love, once I engage here, it's pretty cool. If we go through it tonight, two things happen. One, I get better at explaining it to patients, right? Each and every day. But then also, hopefully you guys learn a little bit to keep you out of different situations. And I'll give you the last kind of history story. One of the reasons I'm so passionate about this was that I had a patient that went to went to her doctor, and they thought there was no good way to improve her TMJ. And so the solution was going to be to fly to this specialist that was going to be about $45,000. And so it was probably my first bravery, like as a new doctor. I'm not the greatest in telling you what to do. I'm really not. And so when I was this is the first time as a doctor, I said, hey, that's a lot of money. How about we do this? How about we work on it each and every day? Or like each and every day, I'll give you some stuff to do. But then every week, just once a week, I'm going to make you come back and we're going to adjust and get all your spinal issues going. Well, the coolest part was she committed, right? She came and did that for 2 months. And because she did that so well, we still do it to this day. Remember, this is 23 years ago. We still do it, not once a week. Now we're down to once every 3 months, but we still check it once in a while. And you can do a lot of improvement on your own. The biggest thing is like, don't think it's one-time deal, right? One of my biggest problems right now is like, sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes as a chiropractor, you adjust somebody and they feel amazing, right away. But one of the problems with that is that people think that that's the new way it should be. You just check it once and then it's over, right? You don't have to do any follow-ups. Well, that makes zero sense in any aspect except for if chiropractic works that great, it's great. The problem is we have muscle balance and everything else. Like good old adage from Dr. Geimer. I used to love this. This is my favorite line he ever used was, it's great if you exercise once a year. It'll be good for you. But I think you'd like the results better if you did it on more of a consistent basis. So yes, chiropractor can take a while. So can exercise. So can brushing your teeth. So can eating correctly. All of these holistic things are going to take you time, right? That's one of the biggest things. Oh, man. Ooh, Julie's in. Let's see. I'm going on 3 years. I have headache, neck tightness, arm pain, lightheaded when I stand up. I've tried physical therapy, braces, and nerves in my neck are pinched because everything is angry. I'm about to try the injections and I'm desperate. Well, Julie, we're going to talk to you about more consistent situation. And hopefully you're hearing what I'm screaming. When you only do a little bit, it's really, really hard. And sometimes once you do, like let's say it takes more. Let's say it takes more than once a week. Let's say it takes 3 times a week. Commit to it. Commit to it just like you would anything else. Otherwise, they're going to have solutions all the way up. And that's the thing. Like there has to be a commitment level regardless of, what's happening. Because if it works that first time and it feels like it's working, and then it stops working, then we might be on that consistent pattern that you need to stay with that until it gets there. It's not forever. It's just until those muscles start turning the corner on, what we're going through. So with that said, let's do my, do the PowerPoint, baby. I'm so proud of myself with these like Canva art things now. Why does my jaw hurt? Understanding the TMJ disorder. What are we going to go over tonight? How the mechanics of the TMJ works. We kind of went through that with the swing. So in your brains, kind of think swing. What happens if the TMJ joint is not working properly? And then real organic solutions versus our sick care strategies that are severe. What can we do at home, right? So if we're not doing something at home, we're not giving it a chance, right? So we have to do that. And what can we do to remove the impediments that allow this thing to happen? Okay. So let's go to, this one tonight, we're going to have to do some share screen and get into the good old stuff. So we're going to walk through the TMJ motion. Okay. So I really like this.
Do not take another.
All right. Sorry. We're going to put it on here. Get a little bigger. Okay. So hopefully you guys can hear me, but this is a very good image. Oh, crap. Sorry. That's what the TMJ looks like. There's muscle on one side, okay? And there's this little joint. Oh, man, I wonder if I could zoom in on. No, I can't do it. Okay, here we go. So right here is how it's set up. Essentially, there is this little disc that sits on top. The weird thing about this disc, though, is really not like a disc. I'm trying to think of something that it's more like. They call it a disc because it is cartilage and it's made kind of like that. Oh, think of let's call it a dang it, a bookmark. So let's say you're trying to separate two pages, right? So you're going to put a bookmark in between two pages. This disc acts like a bookmark in between that the TMJ, the actual joint there, the condyle, and where it's supposed to hit in your skull. And then it uses a muscle to kind of, and the movement of your jaw to kind of move that disc with the jaw. Okay. So here's how it'll get into it in a minute. So that's the fossa. This is the disc they talk about. So think of this as like the bookmark in between the pages. And so as that is going, it has to move just like that to make sure that that piece has to stay on it as the part of your jaw is moving, this condyle part. And so there's these two muscles called lateral pterygoid muscles, and they're like inside your mouth essentially. So think that way. Okay. So that's how the movement pattern works. I want to get to the other one. Okay. So now you're going to see, so as this is how it kind of is the normal process. If you're watching, the disc stays in between the little, if you're listening, it's between the fossa and the condyle. It moves with it. And that's how you want it to be. When we start getting the clicking and popping though, let's get up here. Okay. So this is where we start getting some grinding action. If that disc part isn't in the right spot, right, through ligament, through overuse, through it not sitting properly, then you can get some pain associated with that. Okay. Also, this is also where you hear like the clicky poppy type noises. Okay. And so it goes in and it might touch it, but it's not doing it all the way through. It's supposed to be this bookmark that kind of moves with the pages. Okay. I could not think all day of a good analogy for this, but it's supposed to move with this condyle. If you're watching, it's supposed to move with it. And then when that becomes unaltered, which you can see, it's not just ligaments, right? It's not just ligaments. It's not just pain in there. There's muscles that have to be activated as well. And that's what we need to talk about. Okay. So there is that one. So hopefully you guys see that. That's pretty good. All right. Let's go back actually. I wanted to get a good front. Here's the muscles. This is why it's such an important so here's the anatomy. If you're looking at it again, the jaw, the little fossa, the little condyle kind of is supposed to move out of that little fossa there. And so there's this little disc and it's supposed to move with it. And it's a very faint little disc, but it's also attached to these muscles in there. But you can see this giant masseter muscle, right? And then these giant temporalis muscles. There's these two huge muscles that move the jaw in and out and give you your power, okay? So these little pterygoid muscles, those are the ones that are inside your mouth, and they're very hard to get at, but they're the ones that are actually attached to that little disc, bringing it in and out. Okay. Hopefully you guys are seeing that. So, sorry. That's pretty cool. I like watching the motion of it. It's so fascinating. And so once I want you to visualize this is happening on both sides of your mouth, okay, at the exact same time, okay? What I want you to be understanding is that these two must work together exactly at the same time. Otherwise, we start having imbalances. So I'm going to use a different part of the body to show you a good example. If I have a really tight hamstring in my lower back or in my leg, that hamstring just doesn't attach to the back of your leg. It attaches to your low back in some form or fashion. If one is really tight and one is really flexible, every time I walk, there's a difference from one side of your back to the other. And we've talked about this with low back pain, right? In that case, sometimes you can actually adjust and get around it. The TMJ is different, however, because they both move identically at the same time all the time. Your low back has an ability to kind of escape that tight hamstring once in a while, but your TMJ does not, because they both are trying to move simultaneously to keep this swing swinging straight. The TMJ is trying not to have that swing rotate, either direction. That's where, when you really, really look hard and you looked at those videos I just showed, you can see it is a muscle balance problem. It has been for a long, long time. Okay. These muscles get imbalanced, whether it's through some of the things we're going to talk about tonight, or it's just over time. Okay. So there's a lot of theories on why that is occurring, but is there a problem necessarily with the actual joint itself? No. It's a problem over time. It's kind of like arthritis, right? Some people have, degenerative arthritis in my brain. Until you convince me with genetic, somebody in your family, whatever, as soon as I hear that word, I'm thinking, okay, your mechanics of whatever has the arthritis in it is off, because the human body is going to have this perfection in their movement pattern. And that goes for TMJ as well. And so it's one of those things that if you can get that TMJ and those muscles to do the proper functioning, then a lot of it'll go away. And that's what's really, really cool. So I just wanted to show you a couple of those before I went on to our next slides. So that's the function. So watch that as we go, because we're going to, on these kind of nights, I like to show and tell a little bit more. So I'm not going to go just based on slides, but okay. So here's how this is an old picture of like what an x-ray looks like. Let's see if I can, I can't get it any bigger. So this is the one that we take. If you see it in our office, it's the one you have to open your mouth for. Well, one of the reasons is if you can kind of look, you can see your jawline, right? So you can see your jawline, and a lot of times on that x-ray, you can actually see, are those muscles of your TMJ activating correctly? And if they're not, what can we do about that? So this is the one. So it's basically the x-ray where I'm opening my jaw and I'm trying to see the top two vertebrae in there with a better clarity, right? So you have that shot. Well, once I do that, a lot of times you can actually see the motion of the TMJ if it's tracking to one side or the other. Okay. And so if it's tracking to one side or the other, even if you don't have a TMJ issue where it's painful, it's leading up to that, right? And so that's why some dentists will call it right before. They'll be like, hey, you should probably get that TMJ stuff looked at, right? And so dentists have done a good job in trying to keep, ahead of the game on this. The one thing, though, is chiropractors have done, I think, not a great job of letting people know, hey, if we fix your up your neck, your spinal mechanics, your TMJ itself, and all of that, and we start working on the muscle things, then we can help that dentist out a lot too, right? And that's a big part of it, that it's part of us not saying, hey, we should be doing that. So that is one of the things. So that's what the upper jaw looks like on an x-ray. One of the things I wanted to show you, though, is the reason this is happening more. So we have this nice curve in our neck. this curve in our neck is going away. Let's just call it that. I hope tonight is the night where everyone stops looking down at their phone. We're having jobs that everybody's looking down, and it creates this military neck. And then everybody comes in and says, oh my gosh, I got this widow's. I know. Ooh, Julie, good question. All right. It's a left side only. Correct. That's the side that's showing up as painful, but it's both sides that have to work together. So no matter which side, it could be your right side the problem the entire time. So that's what's so interesting. It just manifests with weakness on that location. But I digress. That was a good question. So anyway, so a lot of it is our neck posture. And what's happening is because, so if you're sitting watching me tonight, let's say you're looking down at your phone, think about taking your head away and visualize your ears in between your shoulders. Okay. And trust me, I'm one of the more chronic people doing this. So it's not, it's not something I'm getting on you guys about, because it's the life we live. So we're going to get the ears in between our shoulders, right? And feel how that feels. That's much different than where you're at currently, right? And what happens is like, if we go too far forward, we start opening up our vertebrae or our neck into a lot of issues, like side to side movement. We sleep weird. We sleep on the side with our head cocked. A lot of these things start to manifest over time. Let's say you're a side sleeper and you don't have enough pillows. So you're so passed out though that your neck is all kinds of whacked, right? So think of it, if you're watching me on the video, think of how my jaw has to sit if my neck is way over here. Oh man, it's so weird in a video. Okay, so like that. So then my jaw, based on gravity, is going to try to like rock down. Now, one of the biggest problems I'm seeing in TMJ stuff is that everybody has CPAP machines, sleep apnea type stuff. I don't know holistically where I sit on those because it helps so many people. However, I do know that this becomes a major issue because they have their sleep position that they had before changes quite a bit. So these are all things that could potentially cause you to have this TMJ stuff. So here's a straight neck curve. So I showed you back here is what a kind of a good, nice curve looks like, right? That's what it should be. Ears over shoulders, blah, blah, blah. And then this is what not ears. And this, my friends, I wish it wasn't as common as it actually is. But it's massively common. Very, very common. So what they call text neck, straight neck, military neck, whatever you'd like to call it, opens your world up for your head to be not square on your shoulders. Okay. And when they're not square on your shoulders, these muscles make up for it. Okay. And the coolest thing about the innate intelligence of your body is it's really, really smart for a really, really long time. So I'm going to show you this again, how many muscles are interacting with you if your head goes side to side, forward or backwards, in any of these things. And then once you see the muscles, it'll start making sense why it takes so much more work than, just a little bit of, just even in a knee, right? Knee rehab is less than the TMJ. And this is why. Because look at all these muscles. Any imbalance within any of these muscles that causes the TMJ to go crazy leads to it to be a chronic problem. Okay. So that's one of the major problems with TMJ in general. Now, there's a lot of stuff we're going to learn tonight that'll help you improve it as we go. But this, my friends, is a 1% special. This is a condition that if you did something 1% every single day, you can really, really change like everything about it. Okay. So remember that tonight is a 1% special TMJ disorder. Okay. So here's a good shot of This guy just drew. Don't worry about the yellow, all those yellow ones, except for where the mandible is. See where the lower part of the jaw is up there. And the lower part of the jaw is showing you where that jaw is sitting. It's not sitting dead center, in the middle of the person's neck, right? That shows you that this has a big, high propensity for like TMJ issues. Okay. All right. I think that is the only last one I want to do. Okay. So let's go into some really cool. So tonight we're going to go over some solutions. And I got a couple really good ones. But before I show you these, the biggest requirement I would make is some of these may help. But I would really, really suggest you coming in, get it, into the chiropractic aspect, wherever you're watching this, have them do a full TMJ evaluation, an upper neck vertebrae, however you want to do it, but get that whole thing checked out and then commit to something that's going to be like, okay, we're going to do this for this long and really start changing the muscle systems that allow this stuff to happen. Right. Sometimes we can feel good for like 2-3 weeks on this. Next thing you know, you get hit like a firestorm tornado, right? And that's the problem with TMJ. And we'll go into, after I show you these, why this is such an important thing to think about, as we go forward, because of how many other things I'm finding that are very significant that have to do with TMJ and upper neck situation. So with that said, let's do some sharing of the screen. So these are going to be some exercises I love. This guy was really good. So let's go back. All right, here we go. Okay, so for those that are on a podcast, he is essentially...
You're lifting and you're really opening up your suboccipitals when you do this, and that helps relax the TMJ.
Go back all the way.
What you do is take a breath in, and when you breathe out, I want you to push your head back over your shoulders like this.
Okay, so in a podcast situation, I want you to think you have underneath your chin is a board, so you can't move your chin at all. And then what you're going to do is drive your ears back over your shoulders. But you're on this board that can't move. So it's called a chin tuck. So it allows your chin to not move, right? You're trying to go up and down this board and drive your head backwards. This is a huge exercise. It looks so simple. And it's one of those that you can do very easily. So the people on the video,
let it relax for a second. Take another big breath and push it back. Push, 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 push. You're lifting and you're really opening up your suboccipitals when you do this, and that helps relax the TMJ. Once again, big breath in and breathe out. I'm going to show you from the side. Big breath in and push, 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 push. Good. Feel it. Feel it back there. Feel this lift. Feel the muscles get strong. Most of us are like this. It tightens here and tightens the TMJ. Big breath in and push it back.
It's a fantastic exercise.
Good.
All right. So that one is really, really good. This is another one I want you to think about.
Knuckle. This part of your knuckle, put it right behind this bone behind your ear, like this, with the fingers pointing up your head, and the same thing on the other side. Lift the suboccipital and pull down on the opposite side. Go to the other side, lift. Good. This one is amazing. People come into my office, they have a headache. Oh, give me those occipital lifts. Like, how's the headache? Oh, whoa, it's much better. Research shows that when the occipitals get tight, the masseter, or the jaw muscle, gets tight, and we don't want those clenchers tight. We want the clenchers more relaxed, and every other range of motion, every other muscle working a little bit better, a little bit stronger.
All right. For those in my podcast, he's taking the palm of his hand, going right behind, kind of behind your ears and up a little bit. And then he's taking his head back and forward. So we were trying to tipping the hands into it like you're trying to get it to essentially pop in a sense. You're not really going to get it like that. You could hear some noises, whatever, but that motion is going to help tremendously. And one reason I love this doing these podcasts is this exercise. I was like, whoa, I've not taught this one to my people. This one is a really good idea.
Good.
So thank you, Dr. Field.
Okay, let's go ahead and do some tongue range of motion. So you're going to bring your tongue to the back of your throat, hold it for about 3-4 seconds. Then we're going to go to one side and the other side. So you push out your cheek. Let's go ahead and do it. To the back, glide that tip of your tongue towards your tonsils. You're going to hold that for a while. Your tongue's going to go then to your left cheek. Hold that for a while. And to the right cheek. You're going to find this tickles your tongue a little bit, and it tickles the top of your mouth. You're opening your mouth wide and pushing your tongue against your cheek. Keep that mouth wide open.
That one's really good. So this one, the reason tongue is to kind of, and we should be doing this a lot. Tongue exercises, very simple to do. And he went up, like where you're putting your tongue into the top of the roof of your mouth, into the back of the roof of your mouth a few times, and then over as far as you can into your cheek, or over as far as you can in the other cheek. Okay. So that one I like as well. And then here we go on this one.
Good. Now we're going to open the jaw. We're going to move it with your mouth really wide open. We're just going to move that jaw a little bit to the left and to the right. So open wide. Feel a stretch on the muscles on the side that you're pushing your jaw towards. You're kind of just moving it back and forth, moving it back. One side might feel a little tighter than the other and really accentuate. Something feels tight, go into a little bit. It's a slight movement. You're going to feel your jaw exercise, though. This is going to be a good one.
So you open your jaw all the way, and then you're kind of rocking it back and forth. Okay, so you're rocking your jaw from right to left. But like a lot of these muscle movements, I want to feel the tightness on either side. Okay, so if one's worse than the other, then you're going to work that one a little more. Okay.
Oh, that's good. Let's massage it a little bit. You can get your knuckles in there. Okay, now we're going to go up right up where the cheeks are and find some, right where those cheekbones are, find some tender spots, and you're going to open your mouth. This one's pretty intense. Feel the pain. Ooh, it's a good one. If you're not feeling it, get under, lock yourself underneath that cheekbone.
That one's fantastic. So he's pushing into
This one's my favorite. It opens the jaw. I want you to listen to your voice after you do this also. We're going to work the really mouth openers on this. Your tongue is going to be pushed against the lower teeth and curled forward, and the mouth is going to be open. And give yourself really good posture on this. Perfect, proud posture. Give yourself a proud posture though. Really push your head back over your shoulders and get your mouth as wide as you can. Push that tongue down on top of the teeth. You're really working the antagonistic muscles to the clenchers and opening the back of your throat. You'll love what this does for your voice. You'll get some of your more depth in your voice. You'll feel a vibration in your skull. It's really going to help your TMJ also.
That is so fantastic.
All right, good. Next, we're going to massage the back of your skull. Let's start with your left hand, and you're going to reach it around to the back of your head and get your fingers right underneath your skull. Get right under there. Feel it. You're going to have a little tension under there. Get that middle finger in there. Do some cross fiber massage.
All right. So with fear of adding too much to it, that one, his name is, look up this guy. It's called Fields Family Chiropractic. He gave it Adam Fields, DC. He's not a big, I don't think there's a ton of YouTube stuff on there, but When I came across his video, I thought those were absolutely fantastic. And when I learned something that I'm going to do for the rest to into my daily routine, I want you guys to know. So I'm going to be doing this one where you're pushing those knuckles in and you're really kind of stretching those out. The tongue pattern, open it a wide open pattern. This one was really cool. I liked how he did this. Actually, it was, how did he do that? What, like this, but in a lot of those movements, everybody's going to losing their mind if they keep trying to go for popping and clacking noises. That's the dumbest thing. We need to get self-aware, okay? We don't need the clicky poppy noises. We need the self-awareness of how is it balanced. If I'm tight on one side versus the other, then we know we're out of balance. That's as simple as it has to be. Okay. Spinal postures and the things that I'm teaching, like as we go through all these different ones, if I can understand and discern where the imbalance is, a lot of those things start becoming not chronic anymore. And so that's one thing I wanted to show you. And so before I show you the next video on different ones, hopefully you guys like those. Those are pretty good. If you've missed a couple, go back into the Prize Inside on Rumble, and then it'll be there always. But the other thing is understanding what conditions this TMJ could do. Okay. Headaches is a big one. Migraine headaches, tension headaches, all of those are big ones. People don't think of this though, but trigeminal neuralgia or Bell's palsy. Trigeminal neuralgia and Bell's palsy, this can be a big indicator. And I've seen this, and I'm just talking offhand right now, just kind of from just clinic experience. That one's a big one. The biggest one, though, in the last probably 2 years has been vertigo. That's not related to the calcium situation, right? So we did a whole vertigo show. You want to go watch that. If you're taking too much calcium, that can be an issue. However, one of the biggest ones is that upper neck and jaw issue that starts to happen. Okay. So that's another thing. So you have vertigo, Bell's palsy, throat issues, sinuses. I'd probably put up at there at the number one. The biggest thing is a lot of times, and I put it on myself as well, I don't make people commit to what it probably takes, to be honest with you. But my patients, they do good, they adjust well, they do all those things. The problem is like, it's like if I only do it, if we have to do some things in the consistent basis, and if we can start doing some of these TMJ things in the meantime, that just accelerates our improvement, right? That's why I make you do 1% every single day of something, because once you start improving that muscle tension and tightness each and every single day, and we adjust, get the TMJ, all those things, the upper cervical is right, things start to change. Oh my gosh, she's back. How are you, baby? Jess is here. Long-time fan. That I know I've made it. But Jess, I'm glad you're watching the show. And Julie. It's very sad when you know things that you cannot say. But I'm both glad, really glad you two are here. Remember those jaw movements by that guy right there. I'm going to have that on a running tab. I did, like when he pulled up the video, I was thinking our normal back and forth muscle massage here, right? And then he came up with this one, right? Where you're coming behind your head, doing this, doing the muscles on your masseters. That was so fantastic. So I wanted to keep going and just give him props because that was super cool. I want to see what else he's got, but I fear of, the thing where you can't show it very often, but I think until I get up there and the big thing, I think I can share a little bit. But so remember these as big conditions, right? Autoimmune things. If you hear the new one, this one's a tough one, but Arnold-Chiari malformation. That one, I'll be honest, I think there's more to it than what they're telling people. I think our neck forward head posture has gotten so bad that we've now created our brain is literally coming into our spine a little bit. That's what those Arnold-Chiari kind of situations are. There are actual genetic ones, but I'm seeing sometimes that that's a little quick diagnosis versus my head posture is so far forward. I'm putting so much tension on that head that we're starting to have those. So remember those as we go in the TMJ world. I think that's the other. Oh, and ear problems. Ear problems are a huge one that we see with TMJ a lot. That was kind of what kickstarted this week because it was just like they're missing a lot of adult ear problems. Whether it's adult actual ear infection type situations, that's happening a lot. And so when I see that, a lot of times it's about flow. It's about facial muscle flow that's not happening. And then by the time you feel that, you really want something to take that away, but it's a little late at that moment. Does that make sense? So it's a little late when your car. I kind of think of holistic like this. It's kind of sucks. It's not the greatest solution when your car tire pops or it's flat because you should have taken care of it before it got to got the nail over the top of it. But once you've learned and you put the tire back on there, then we start checking for nails. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Don't let your engine get smoking with the oil, if you know what I mean. Change your oil first. It's usually a good idea. But some of these things come on you and you didn't even know. So, okay, let's go into my next one. That guy was fantastic, though. So remember that. Let's go to him. I want to make sure one more. Yeah, he's good. And then we're going to go. The rest of them are.
Hi everyone, I'm Priya Mistry, the TMJ doc, and today I'm going to talk to you about TMJ relief from the comfort of your own home. What can you do from the comfort of your own home to help relieve TMJ symptoms? One exercise that helps reduce the pops and the clicks within the jaw joint is called the 6x6 exercise. For the 6x6 exercise, you want to start with your teeth edge to edge as if you're biting off a thread. This position can be kind of hard to tell just by feel if you're in the right position. So standing in front of a mirror to actually verify that your teeth are edge to edge is a good idea. Once you get to that edge to edge position, you want to open wide and then go back to that edge to edge position 6 times a day. That's why it's called the 6x6. It's easy to remember. Definitely don't do it 7, 8, 9 times a day. You can overdo it and irritate the joint. And remember to keep your teeth edge to edge. That's a very vital part of this exercise.
Okay, hopefully you heard that. It's another 1% triber. 1, right? Edge to edge. Get your jaw kind of jutted out there 6 times. Feel that tracking. See if it hits right. And every time when you're doing that, you're doing a self-awareness piece. Okay. All right. Let's see where she goes from here.
Behind the eye and even to specific teeth. The lateral pterygoid muscle is also a key player in clenching and bruxing activity. To release this muscle on the left side, you'll use your right pinky and vice versa. So you take your pinky, again, you twist your hand so that the nail is facing towards the teeth once you're inside the mouth and the pad is towards your cheek. And then I'm just going to go as far back and up as I can. You'll see that I'll open wide to begin with, and then I'll close about halfway to increase access way back there. So here we go. I hit the shot. Change the angle.
So this one's a little more for the brave ones out there. It's a pretty good move, though. A lot of docs do.
Once you've applied pressure in one spot for 10 to 15 seconds, change the angle of your pinky and go for it again. So you can do this, changing the angle 2 or 3 times. And I wouldn't recommend doing this lateral pterygoid release more than 1 to 2 times per day.
Okay. So as she's talking to the next one, the masseter is something that is the big muscle, and she's going to be talking about that part. So the masseter is the big one that has to really, really balance. Remember, the lateral pterygoids where that disc is. Okay. So I'll let her do her thing.
Place them right underneath your cheekbones, and then you run your fingers with inward pressure all the way down to the angle of the mandible. Use as much pressure as you can handle. This muscle is big. It's often overworked, especially if you're watching this video, you're watching it for a reason. So you can do this one multiple times a day, 3 or 4 times each time you do it. And it really helps to relieve any tense or fibrotic areas that build up in the masseter muscle. If you don't want to use your fingers, you can also use this handy dandy jade roller. This jade roller is great because it does the exact same thing. You can apply pressure inwards as you support the other side of your head and then go all the way down to the angle of the mandible.
Right. And a lot of these, the massage techniques, you're not going to really be as forceful as you really need to be just because we don't like hurting ourselves. Right. So that is the other one. I just wanted to show you that. I don't know. Well, let's go into this one and then we'll talk about it.
And come all the way forward. And you can do that as sustaining that pinch, come slowly forward. Then you go back in and you grab everything a little bit lower at a different level. Give it a little pinch.
So she's basically saying you go in with your 2 fingers and you grab the masseter with one of them going in your mouth, right? And then you're just kind of, it's like you're trying to stretch it out of your mouth. Okay. So that's another really good one. I like
all the way forward. And you can do that as many times as you need to, as long as you run the entire length of the masseter, which goes from the cheekbone all the way to the angle of the jaw right here.
Yeah, she's going to show it.
So let me put my glove on and demonstrate that. So basically, you're going to take your pointer finger and your thumb, back.
Yeah, I always think of in wrestling, it's like that fish hook thing. But it actually is like a massage.
Feels good.
All right. Now, one of the reasons it's critical on some of these is because we don't think about doing these a lot. A lot of times, like I've noticed in my chiropractic world, I started doing my own warm-ups, right? Every single joint of my body, I try to warm up before I'll even open the door in the morning to work out. You know, most of even my patients know, like, you ain't opening that until there's black coffee in my hand and I've done my warm-ups, right? And so the reason is like, and it doesn't take me very long to do that. I'm going to add these to what I do, a lot of these different muscle movements, because those masseters are as powerful as like your piriformis and your hamstring and your quad. Is super powerful. One of the most powerful muscles in the planet. And one of the things that's the problem is because it's so powerful and so dense of a muscle, scar tissue and imbalances stay in there for a lot longer period of time. So just remember that as you go through those two. I hope you like those. Going in with your fingers, kind of massaging out, going into that lateral pterygoid is way up, back in the back there. A lot more comfortable if you do it than, have somebody, some massage therapist or chiropractor do it, because you can do it. It's just one of those things where you don't get as much out of it unless you're doing it every day, doing something in that pathway every single day. And you will just blow your mind on tongue exercises as well. So all right, I want to get to, let me see where we're at. Okay, that's where we're at right now. And I think the last one. Okay, perfect. So I got one more video I want to show you of my favorite dude on the intranet. One day I gotta get him on here, Dr. Berg. I might reach out actually, because this guy does some phenomenal stuff. But this is Dr. Eric
You've
Berg,
invested a lot of money in a
PRG.
stunning Shopify or WooCommerce storefront. It looks
phenomenal. If you want,
Let's talk about TMJ relief. Okay, there's 3 things that I'm going to teach you today that can give you a tremendous amount of relief.
Remember, BERG, Dr. Eric Berg, he does a lot of different videos. I think he does like one a day. So if you're really into the holistic, some things me and him disagree on, sometimes, but most of the time, he's got some amazing different situations. So this one's a really good video.
If you search out information on TMJ, you're going to find dangerous treatments, surgery, which has major complications, drugs, people using splints that really never do anything. And maybe you went to a chiropractor to get it adjusted. Being in practice for 30 years and working with the jaw and giving people adjustments to the jaw, I've never once found that to be successful. And simply because it's not really a bone out of place that just needs to be put back into place. It's a combination of a lot of muscle tension. You have a little disc inside the joint right here. You have a lot of things going on. However, I do want to say the number one reason or the root cause of TMJ, from my experience, is related to recent dental work. You had some work done on your teeth, and every time.
So this is one of those where and it's possibly because the training I've gotten different. I've seen it actually improve. One of the biggest things is I get it massively improved actually, but it's one of those is the commitment level to the patient on all the aspects is where it really takes off.
Back to the dentist and have them double check to make sure that
and I actually don't agree with him on that it's dental work. So a lot of these times, so don't get me wrong, everybody has their opinions on things, but this one, dental work is not my number one. I'll be honest, it is more sleeping patterns. Sleeping patterns has been a bigger one to me, or when a child learns how to sleep awkwardly and then all of a sudden that jaw starts to drop. That's when I notice the most. So I told you, Dr. Berg's awesome. I'm not going to lie about that. I love his videos. But this one, we can do some stuff. But go ahead. All right, here we go. Okay, so if something like that, if you kind of fight that, where we just look at the jaw, right? If we don't look at the holistic approach of chiropractic or any of those, right? Just looking at the whole body and why that jaw got that way, then you would stay in the right jaw the whole time. But because we're looking at it in a chiropractic holistic way, many times it might not be the jaw. I'm just giving you resources if it is the jaw, but it could be many other things. That's why you want to always get checked out. Right, which is a very big portion of what can happen. So now we're going to do, okay, so he goes through, and then the rest, just to make sure I don't get busted. Oh, I don't think I shared that. Sorry. Dang it. All right, my bad. I'll put it back up there. Oh, no. Hang on, Julie. Darn it. How did that happen? All right. Okay, get back into... That was all me. Okay, now, sure.
Today that can give you a tremendous amount of relief.
Okay, so we're going to go up to the area where he's talking. So, like Julie, you said in the comments, you want to do your left side. So you'll want to work the muscles that he's going to show you on the right side.
Clicking, popping. Let's just dive right.
Okay,
Swollen can activate this nerve, which goes jaw. Normally, it's going to be in the right shoulder or the upper back, but it can go right into the right jaw. So, gallbladder, you're never going to see change. So, let's say, for example, it's the left side right through in here.
Here we go.
And it hurts right in this articulation right here. What you want to do is you want to massage, okay, the opposite side on the muscles, okay? And you're going to be basically working around the joint. So if it hurts on this side right here, don't massage on that side. Work on the opposite side. And so you're going to basically rub right above the TMJ joint, right through in here, and you're just going to massage that really good. And then you're going to work below it, because there's muscles too below that joint, and you're going to just really massage that really good, and even right into the joint as well, which is right in the front of that, your opening on your ear right here. So you're just going to massage this, and what you're going to notice when you're doing this is going to be very, very, very tender. Like most people haven't realized how tender it is on the opposite side where you hurt. You start massaging this area right through in here, up into your skull, right through in here, down through here, and it's going to bring relief to this side. So that's number one. I always recommend that you rate the severity of pain from a scale from 1 to 10, and then re-rate it after you do this. And then ask yourself, did the pain shift? Okay, let's say it went up or it went down, then you massage on the opposite side. So if the pain went down, you massage it a little bit lower to the TMJ on that side, okay? And it doesn't have to be any specific type of massage. It can be irregular or whatever. You're just going to activate the opposite side, okay? So that's step one. All right, step two, okay, and this is probably going to give you the most relief.
Okay, so he goes into the rest of that video. He's just going into what we went through with the lady that went in and did the lateral pterygoid and then the massage in there, right? And so in Julie's case, when she said it was on the left side, she's going to work all the muscles from up in here all the way through the masseter joint, right, on the right side, and seeing to make sure that that left side like really starts chilling out. So I was pretty excited, guys, to find these videos. Like Dr. Bergs is always good. He's always very kind of for my 1% tribers that watch a lot, he might be decently basic for you. For the most part, though, most people are going to get something out of there. And so that's why I always like going to him, you know, like as one of the big things. But, you know, the other guy was fantastic. And the reason I like that kind of thing is because we got to get out of our mindset that our TMJ hurts and now we're going to do something about it. We need to do something about it now, regardless if your TMJ hurts tonight, right, or yesterday. We have to start thinking that way. If it's a weakness that I know that it's there, right, I'm going to do that exercise every single day. I wouldn't be, you know, like I always think we have to start thinking holistic as we would, you know, playing basketball. You know, like I'm not going to not shoot until I have to shoot, right? I'm going to practice shooting and practice shooting and practice shooting until I'm so good at shooting. When it comes to the time where I need to shoot, I can make the shot. And sometimes that's how we have to start looking at holistic mindset. So if this is something we have to, and I'm just as guilty as everyone else, and that's what 1% Tribe is, start adding some of this to your day-to-day life, and you'll really, really start noticing a big difference. So hopefully I went a little over than I usually do, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Next week will be a mindset challenge. Last week was milk thistle. It was pretty good. So just remember that. I appreciate all of you hanging out with me tonight. Remember, Wednesday is Whole Health Wednesday. Typically it'll be about 7:30 now. 7:30 or 8:30. I'll be showing that. I like the 7:30 time. Honestly, that's like my favorite. But so 7:30, we're going to aim for that. But have a great week. Work some TMJ. Touch those teeth together and do 6 right before we leave. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. You did it. You got one tonight. Let's do this tomorrow. Get it going. Get those muscles working. Get in there. See what happens. All right. Have a great week and hope to see you Wednesday. Have a good one.